Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on this week with our penultimate day of the theme. We're looking at more psychedelic tracks. This one we're checking out has the name right in the name of the band. Very interesting title, by the way. They are the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. The song is And the Addled Abstraction of Being. And I actually had to look up addled. That's a new word for me. It means to be tossed into confusion or just kind of confusion in general. So the confused abstraction of being, which of course loses the alliteration on with the A's, but alright, enough preamble. Let's get into this. Alright, so we got a 6 pulse right here. Just like I mentioned yesterday, this 6 kind of having this flow. I feel 6 very flowy. There's even a bit of swinginess on the 8s. Yeah, really nice bass presence. Wow, that guitar effect right there. And it's all encompassing with the guitars being panned so hard. Lots of reverb on the vocals as well. Yeah, so this is a different 6 feel right here because we emphasize 1, 3, and 5 rather than 1 and 4. Yeah, this back and forth is really weird, I think. It's very different, that's for sure. It's rapid fire switching. Yeah, some really fun syncopation right here. Yeah, I love how the guitars are moving in different directions. Got a really nice bass line walking down there. Still swinging real hard right here. And that guitar wailing in the background. Well, that was abrupt. All right. So, man, these psychedelic songs are. There's something else. I finally feel like I'm getting the genre. A lot of the psychedelic stuff we've checked out this week plays around with repetition and effect repetition and effects to gain the effect of creating these atmospheres that the listener can be enveloped in and just kind of chill and see where it takes their mind. I do that for this song, and when I'm finally going somewhere, it just stops for nature sounds. I can't win. I can't win. All right, so what's going on here? Let's break this down a little bit. The entire song is written in 6/8, I think. At least I feel it in a 6/8. There could probably be an argument for alternating between 6/8 and 3/4, but that just seems to muddy up sheet music if it were to be written out. I think 6/8 makes the most sense, but there needs to be a signifier because the 6/8 dances between two concepts. A very flowy 6/8 that emphasizes 1 and 4, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can get this nice ebb and flow to the song. And the other one emphasizes all the odd notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it feels more like 3/4 where you're emphasizing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're definitely going to have to showcase that on the sheet music somehow if you were to write it in 6/8, which I still think is the right way to go about it. But it is interesting. I mentioned how rapid fire we switch between these two. It drastically changes the feel of the song without changing the meter or the tempo. And we go from this very rigid downbeat attack to, like I said, this very flowy ebb and flow kind of feel, and then back to that really choppy, strict downbeat concept. and it's rapid fire. It's got to be like every 4 bars or something. We go back and forth between these two, at least in the verse. I think I want to call it the verse. Now, being that it's called the addled abstraction of being, we're going to skip the addled part. It's the abstraction of being. So this is going to be a musical representation of what it is to be human, to exist. Maybe not even to be human, maybe just to exist, which I think actually works a little bit better. There's moments of calm and chill, and there's moments of stress, and that is a majority of life. You're either stressing about something or you're, relaxed. This is true not just for humans, but also in nature. As a hunter, you're either chilled and relaxed, or you're hungry and hunting. As prey, you're either grazing and feeding yourself, or you're being chased. You're either existing or you're in danger. And I think this concept of stress versus relaxation works very well. They found a fantastic way to do that and have it emphasized within rhythmic notation within a singular time signature. It's kind of phenomenal that they went about doing that. Now, I could be grasping at straws. I could be completely off with this, but that is what I got out of listening to the musical aspects that take up a majority of this track. Now, that isn't the whole song. Now, that is literally just the time signature and the emphasized beats within the time signature. There is a lot of other stuff going on here. There is also, for some reason, a heavy emphasis on swing eights. And what that means is when we have straight eighths, they're equal distance from each other. So if your beat is boom, 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 your eighth notes are going to be boom, 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 boom. Very simple. But when you swing your eighths, you're going to have a heavier emphasis on the first part of the eighth. So instead of boom, 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 you get boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. And that is what the eighth notes tend to be in here, which is interesting because, as the name implies, being swinged eighths, they tend to be found in swing music, jazz stuff. Jazz is very notorious for notorious? I don't know. That might not be the right word. Jazz typically uses swing eighths in a lot of its music. I can't say I've heard it in rock before. It's an interesting combination. Um, and I don't really know what it means, but it definitely stood out to me. Like, I don't have anything else to add to why they might have chosen it or what it kind of means, maybe on a larger scale or how it works within other elements of the song, but it's there. I'm not sure why it's there. Maybe it's just something that this band always puts in. It's something they enjoy. It's, a sort of a trademark of theirs. You know that it's the psychedelic porn crumpets because they're playing psychedelic music with swing eights. But it is interesting. It's ear catching, that's for sure. Um, but I think the part that really speaks out to me in this song is the final 3 minutes or so, when we stop playing around with this idea of structure. We have this verse chorus idea where we move between the uh, the emphasized 1/4 versus the emphasized 1/3/5, getting that stress versus relaxed idea, and then the calm 6/8 that focuses on 1/4, where it kind of empties out a little bit, and we return back to that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's quieter, it's calmer. I kind of see those as verse chorus ideas. The alternating elements of the verse, the sort of quieter, sparser section is the chorus, and we go back and forth between these ideas a couple of times. But then the last 2 or 3 minutes of the song is all about the psychedelic buildup, right? This is the part where we start seeing some immense layering. We bring in some new ideas as we get a a violin that comes in. We introduce new melodic ideas, and we just start layering all this stuff up. And this is the part where I was like, okay, I'm starting to dig this. I had my eyes closed. I was just letting my mind go. I'm like, I'm beginning to understand how I should be listening to this kind of music. And some of the layering in here is, it definitely starts to err more towards a wall of sound idea, much like, man, who was that? The Doors. Was it the Doors? I think, yeah, I think it was the Doors. Um, that we checked out on Tuesday, where their layering would get to a point where the instruments themselves would kind of be stepping on each other's toes, and I called it a dirty sort of layering versus a cleaner sort of layering that we explored in yesterday's Slice the Cake. So this kind of errs in the middle. There are some parts where it gets a little messy, but for the most part, I think the layering is done very cleanly. Everything kind of has its space in the mix. Everything kind of has its space musically. When some instruments are resting, other instruments are playing within those rests, and it kind of creates this nice layered wall of texture and wall of sound. We get some really cool ideas coming in with new timbres. I mentioned they bring a violin around this point. And I was really just starting to, let my mind go and see, hey, where is this buildup going to take me? And I really enjoyed this part of the song. I don't know if this is necessarily something I would want to listen to all the time, but at least I'm approaching it on its terms. And I'm saying, okay, this is not really designed to be analyzed as deeply. We're going to be looking at an extended, repetitious idea, sort of slow burn through it, and you're supposed to be feeling this section out. So I started to feel this section out, and I enjoyed where it took me. It's really cool. And then out of nowhere, they they finish the song off with the nature, and it's abrupt. It isn't a fade into it. I think a crossfade would have been really nice, but it also would have had a completely different effect. Um, but it's just abrupt and then nature, and I'm not, man, I don't know. I keep trying to think of what it means. What would this abrupt switch to birds chirping mean in the idea of being? And honestly, I have no idea. My gut tells me that the switch point is from being dust before birth and then coming into the world. But I don't think that that works too well, because first of all, my entire idea of the switching of accented elements at the beginning is about a state of being, which would not fit into an element that I thematically place as pre-being. And the song, I think, would be mistitled as the aspect of being would be a 30-second outro rather than the meat of the song. So I'm kind of dismissing that theory, and I have no idea. Other than the fact that life is weird and can seemingly change at any point in time. You could be having a great day and having a great week, having a great year, and then just bam, life's different. Something happens, and catastrophic events, or maybe you're having a bad week, and then you win the lottery or something. Life is unexpected, or life can bring unexpected events. And maybe that's what the ending means. I don't know. I do have a question about when this was released, though. I have come to not trust YouTube's descriptions. This says 2016. And that brings me to a lot of questions. It says it was released March 19th, 2016. Assuming, yeah, that's how I would read that. That's yeah, definitely. So, yeah, March 19th, 2016. That makes this a rather new song from a rather maybe not necessarily a new band, but a band still creating music. This song sounds like it came out of the 60s or 70s. But this says that it's not. It's a new track, which brings up questions like mix, which I hadn't really given much thought to. But I compare this to the mix of Pink Floyd and The Doors, both of that we've checked out this week. And yeah, the engineering is completely different here, especially where instruments are placed in the mix. This has more of a modern mix to it now that I'm thinking back on it. The drums are sort of centered with a full pan, so they kind of encompass you. The guitars are pan left and right, vocals are centered, but it utilizes a lot of the sounds and textures of 60s and 70s psychedelic music. Psychedelic rock, I suppose, is what Pink Floyd and the Doors would be. In that they have the super reverbed vocals. They have that. Oh man, what was that? It was like uh, I don't know the tone, but it's the guitar was like whoa 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 whoa, whoa, really fast, just kind of like fluctuating. Uh, Maybe not that fast though, 'cause that sounds more sci-fi. But hope you guys know what I'm talking about there. Very to me at least, very 70s guitar tone. Um, and it's just they have done a fantastic job at creating a modern take on something that feels like a few a few decades ago. It definitely feels outside of it's anachronistic, really. It feels outside of its time, but also the mix and production feel very modern, and it feels like it really doesn't have a place in time. So it's very cool in that aspect. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that's gonna have to be it for me right here. There's a lot of cool things in here, but I mostly am walking away with more questions than I have answers for. If you have anything to add in the comments, please hit me up. Let me know what's going on here. If they've done interviews about this song, or if you have any takes, if you have any theories of your own, let me know. It's a bit shorter, I would say, for Psychedelic Week. I've noticed a lot of the songs have really been pushing towards that 10-minute mark, and this one, if you cut off the outro, is just 6 minutes long. Doesn't really have enough time for that slow burn, but they do some really interesting stuff rhythmically here. And still think I'm pretty spot on with the stress versus relaxation idea. But again, I'd like to have some confirmation, and if I'm wrong, I'd definitely like to know what's going on. So, like I said, if you have any comments like that, go ahead and drop them down there. Above the comment section is a description box, and in there is a link for Linktree, which will take you to this beautiful menu right here. Has all sorts of stuff related to the channel, such as my Twitter, the community Discord server. You can support me through Patreon here. You can email me. You can check out what I've been listening to. You can check out what I've been writing lately. It's all there. When you're done with that, if you could, right above the description box, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. I'll be back tomorrow. No, actually, right now we got the special selection coming up in about 6 minutes. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, with the last video for the week. We'll be looking at our final psychedelic track, as well as a creator request, which is where a band hits me up and says, "Hey, we've got this music. We'd like you to check it out." And I say, "Yeah, for sure. Let's do it." Usually smaller bands, so it's really good to check in there if you're interested in learning about new music coming up from younger musicians. All right, until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.